Experience tranquility. Pass into the iris.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Iris Podcast. Sorry for a little delay. I'm very tired after event week. My name is Bowsy, and I'll be your host for tonight. Joining me as usual, we have Navino and we have Jono on the cast. How are you two doing on this fine Monday evening?
I'm ready, and I thought I was gonna say like this ready a thing to rumble, but I'm to rumble. Whatever. Words are hard, man.
Words are very hard, so I mean, definitely something we have to work on, especially as the night goes on. But we have now entered stage number 2. If you have not noticed, stage number 2 has now begun, and let's start off by recapping everything from the last week of Tranquility with our first section, which is, of course, Amp It Up. Starting off with you, Navino, what was your favorite moment from week 5 of stage 1?
I have so hard picking one. I think, honestly, there's just some high-quality matches. You saw, Jersey Boys versus FBRD was a fun game. You have, Galactic Penguins finally closing out, getting a 4-0. I think Harmony was really fun to watch. So I had trouble picking just one, but I was really happy to see how some teams finish the stage. A lot of teams finished on a high note, but I'll talk about the others on that end of the spectrum later. But yeah, I'm just happy to see people end stuff on a high note.
Yeah, definitely good to end stuff on a high note, especially for the first stage. Jono, what about you? What was your favorite moment from week number 5?
I'm gonna be honest. After my match, I tuned into the Luminous Foxes and Flashbacks match, and I'm not even gonna lie, that was crazy. That was crazy. Yeah, Luminous was looking really spicy against Flashbacks at one point.
Yeah, definitely. Luminous Foxes, the Elin Pool team, looking pretty good up against Flashbacks, who are in Group C, I believe, this time around. I was very fortunate enough to get a cast in this past week, in week number 5, for the first time in a month, and I'm glad that it happened to be another MI7 versus Reminiscence matchup. So I was able to cast that match, and I thought it was a really fun matchup, and it's glad to see that now MI7 leading the rivalry up against Reminiscence. Now they are leading 3-2 in that rivalry, and were able to get that stage 1 victory as well, entering stage 2. So definitely a big win there for MI7. But now, as we enter stage number 2, what are you most looking forward to as we enter the first week of the stage, starting off with you, Navino?
Oh, damn. I just literally just blanked for a second, and I just now processed you said my name. I'm looking forward to how early season favorites bounce back. There's a ton of people that are that had a less than ideal stage 1, or especially season favorites. I think Rem losing to Puke and Dogs, and then MI7, Amnesia losing to Wyverns, DD kind of getting destroyed by Guangzhou, to put it lightly, Koala losing Geometric, all these teams that were higher ranked favorites who lost a game somewhat unexpectedly, against good teams, some in upsets. I want to see how they bounce back, and I think this stage will really show us their true mettle.
John, what about yourself? What are you looking forward to as we enter the first week of stage number 2?
In all honesty, I just want to see how a lot of the teams in the Elam pool are going to perform. That Elam bracket, it looks really good, especially in Harmony. So I want to see how that goes.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be interesting to see how all those Elin Pool teams. Mine's kind of similar to what John said. I'm looking forward to see if we can scope out some more top teams. There are a lot of teams that were under the radar last season in multiple different ways. They now are in these new groups, and it's most likely that we'll see if they at a higher potential. Teams like Chicago Mafia, who had a very rough season, or very rough stage 1. Basement Dwellers, who have not been performing. We could very well see them perform up to better expectations as we enter into stage number 2. We could see them get better seasons, and we could see them in better positions. Now with that, it's time to go into our next session, which is a bold prediction for stage number 2. No longer for the rest of the season. For stage number 2, Navino, give me your bold prediction for the stage.
I said Devil Dukes go lower bracket. My bold prediction is they don't finish in top 2 of their group and go lower bracket.
Interesting prediction right there. Obviously, the Devil Dukes, 2-time runner-ups. We'll see if Navino's prediction comes true. What about you, John? What's your bold prediction for stage number 2?
1 to 2 teams in every single tier are going to have a golden stage. I'm just going to say it now.
definitely is that
So,
chance for a win stage. Yeah. It's definitely possible. You only have 3 matches in stage number 2. That's 12 maps you have to win nonstop. Golden stage is definitely possible. Mine's kind of similar to John's again. It is that a currently winless team so far in the entirety season will go undefeated in the elimination bracket. There have been several teams that have been able to do that. Skybox, the shirt I have here today, is one of those teams, so we very well could see that here in stage number 2.
What teams are even winless? I don't even.
There are quite a few teams that are winless.
There's a few.
So
Oh, really?
yeah, there are definitely quite a few. I would do the research, but I only have one Google sheet open right now, and that is related to our main thing of the day.
You're fine.
Yeah. But anyway, before we get into our main thing of the day, we do have the montage from week number 5. Special shout out to Twist for editing this week's montage for highlights from week number 5.
Right now, so this is going to be real tough for Lewis to break through.
As long as there's
High
a
Noon coming out from Milan here. They have some members in their
sights.
sights. It's a 3-person High Noon there. They find a 4th. Can they find the ace here right now? They're leaving it for him, and they will be able to find the ace here.
I
got monkey.
Oh, so huge.
Holy shit. Turn. Follow my point. No mercy. 1-1-1. Nice.
Makes sense.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you again, Twists, for that amazing video this week for our montage. But now, as I've mentioned multiple times so far, it is stage number 2. We have officially reached sort of the halfway point of the regular season. Now all of the teams have been reorganized into different groups and tiers where they're going to be facing off against brand new opponents and trying to continue mastering their skills. Of course, here on the Iris Podcast, we are here to predict everything that's going to happen, so that's where we get into our Stage 2 predictions. We're going to start off in the Harmony tier. There are 5 groups in the Harmony tier, including an Elim group, A, B, C, D, E, and the Elim group. We're going to start off with the Harmony tier and start off with Group A. Group A includes Geometric, Onigiri, PauseChamp, and Strix. Navino, of these 4 teams, who is your favorite to win the tier? Or win this group?
I said Geometric. I think that's a pretty obvious choice. They've looked really good. Yeah. Pomku's my MVP candidate right now.
Pomku definitely a strong pick on that team. John, what about your favorite team to win in Harmony Group A?
PauseChamp. Nothing more to it. PauseChamp.
Yeah, I mean, PauseChamp definitely have been the team making upsets all the way around. Navino, what about a team that you're surprised to see in this group?
I put PauseChamp, and that's truly especially if you even go back to my the beginning of the podcast. I think for many, PauseChamp was a surprise, regardless of what you thought of F972. I thought they were going to be a B group team like F972 was last season. I thought they were going to be just mid, maybe make a run of champ rack and playoffs, but them being as dominant as they've been is definitely a surprise.
Yeah, definitely PauseChamp's dominance this season have been a surprise. John, what about you? A team in this group that is a surprise to you, or could be a surprise
Strix.
in the standings?
In my honest opinion, it's Strix. Just for the simple fact that we all seen how they performed last season, and seeing them bounce back like that kind of surprised me a little bit, especially with how rough they did in Overwatch 2. But yeah, Strix.
Yeah, Strix, the Pantheon are doing a great job keeping themselves going. And now finally, in this group, of course, there are a lot of star players. Navino, how about a player that we should be watching in Group A?
I already kind of mentioned him, Pomku. I think he's the probably right now, pound for pound, the best player. He's very flexible, and he's he kind of plays with the carry potential that a lot of tanks don't in Harmony. The only tanks I think that can probably carry as well as him are Impact, Gizmo, Red Knight. Those 4 tanks are probably the only ones I put up there in terms of carry potential. And Pomku's just he has taken a team on paper, a bunch of people that have playing on new roles and taken them to an undefeated stage, putting them as a favorite to win, just looking really good. Their DPS core, none of those players have played DPS on a team before except Jer. Churd never played it. Sinop never played it. So the fact that he's doing that with that core is really impressive.
Yeah, definitely. Pomku, a lot of great things to say about one of the front runners this season for best player in their category. John'll, what about a player that we think that we should be watching in this group?
Honestly, I kind of went against the rules a little bit. I have 2. I have Stoppy from PogChamp, and then I have SS Forever from Onigiri. 2 really talented tank players. I put them up there on my higher tier tank players in A group. Honestly, SS Forever is just probably one of the best Rhines I've seen in a minute, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. In this house, we respect the tank players here on this part of the podcast, but definitely Group A is going to be interesting to watch in Harmony. Let's go over now to the next group, which is Group B. In Group B is Clairvoyance, Doodles, the Galactic Penguins, and Koala Kings. Davino, who is your favorite to win in this group?
I feel like it's either Galactic or Koala. I mean, Doodles is a dark horse, but it all depends if, as I've said before, if they don't if they show up and everything. But I went with Koala for this. Obviously I have some bias, but they've looked, I think, even better with the addition of Seraph. So I think this group is gonna be super close though. But I put Koala for now.
Yeah, definitely Koala Kings, a strong contender, and one of only 3 2-time champions in Tranquility. John, what about you? Who's your favorite to win this group?
I put Doodles. They've shocked a lot of people, and seeing them against teams that can actually give them a run for their money, I think Doodles is going to be able to compete.
Let's see if Doodles is able to compete. How about a team that you think will be the biggest surprise, starting off with you, Navino?
I'm just going to say this. John and I put the same team because we both think Galactic Penguins. And, John, feel free to work off me here since we kind of put the same thing. It's they played up and down to their competition the entire stage 1. They were the preseason winners. They've looked really good, but they've also looked really bad at times. So, I think they are the team that can sneak up and beat some people depending how they adapt to the new patch.
And I can see what you mean. My biggest thing is the only reason I put GP is because, like Navino said, they've been playing up and down the whole season, and at this point in time, it's nobody really knows if they're really good or just really bad. They're just
really
sitting in the middle right now. Yeah, that too. So with them having to play Clairvoyance and Doodles and Koala Kings, I want to see if they'll be able to do something.
Yeah, we'll definitely see if Galactic Penguins are able to make a splash in stage number 2. How about a player to watch from this group, Navino?
I picked Doha/Phantom. I think they've played. GP plays a lot around his Pharah, and so to me, the more he pops off, the better they are as a team because they're truly depending on him and Gizmo to carry a lot of fights just from watching them play.
John,
so
what about
Doha/Phantom?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Navino. John, what about you? What about a player that you are think we should watch?
Honestly, you can't go wrong with my boy Drowsy. Probably one of the craziest players I've seen in a minute. I've been watching him since last season, since I joined Trank. So it's always fun to watch Drowsy play, to be honest.
Definitely a lot of star-studded players. Doha and Drowsy definitely ones we should be watching, along with a lot of the other players in this tier. Let's move over to group number C. Or can you tell I'm can you tell I'm tired? I'm very tired.
It's either here or there. We're good.
Wake up.
Tomato. Group C has
Wake me
basement
up
dwellers.
inside.
Group C has basement dwellers, Chrysalis, Disclosed, and Flashbacks. So, Navino, of these four, who is the favorite to win the group?
Shockingly, John and I agree again. But Flashbacks, looking at these teams, Flashbacks played probably the hardest schedule of these teams. And came out, I would not obviously not unscathed because they're in Group C, but if they can hang with these teams in Group A and B, and these teams that we all rated so highly, I think they should be able to walk through Group C.
John, your comments on Flashbacks, as Navino just pointed out, your favorite to win this tier as well.
Honestly, this is probably the first time, and who knows, however many times you'll see me and Navino agree on something. But it's at the point that Flashbacks looks like they're like an okay team right now. Obviously, everybody's like, "Oh, it's the Pasty Show," blah blah blah. But they do have talent on that team. They just kind of struggled at the start of Stage 1. So now that they have everything together, they should win this with no problem.
We'll definitely see how well Flashbacks are able to do in this stage. How about a team that you think will make a surprise impact from Navino?
I said Basement Dwellers. I'm kind of living off the bronze banter of Wooly Stonks here a little bit because Wooly likes to hype them up, and so I'll throw Wooly a bone here. But I'm excited to see how they do. They did go to map 5 with Clairvoyance, which was probably their best game of the season. So I'll be interested to see how they stack up with the competition because it also will tell us really how good Clairvoyance is, how Basement Dwellers does in this group.
We'll definitely see if Basement Dwellers are able to live up. John, what about a team that you think will make a surprise?
I'm gonna change mine a little bit. I'm gonna go with Basement Dwellers as well. After playing the, no, I'm being so honest. After playing the team, they're actually really talented. Even though we did take them to map 5, they are really talented as a group.
I got to downgrade them. They went to map 5 with John now. I have to downgrade now.
Hey, listen. Okay, I played 2 different roles that game. It was fun. They're actually a really good team. I could see them struggling against Flashbacks a little bit, but I really could see them coming out on top. Maybe not winning the group, but top 2 for sure.
We'll see if Basement Dwellers is able to live up to that name. How about a player that you're watching from this group, Navino?
CVS Pharmacy, for Disclosed, that team looked really a lot better later in the stage. They're kind of just allowing their carry player to pop off, which is CVS Pharmacy. For those that don't know, they were on Genesis Overwatch with Ashes and some other people that won Get Good at GGNA right before the end of Overwatch 1. So they do have some higher level experience. They know how to win, which I'll be honest is a real shocking change to the Redacted org, having someone that knows how to win. I love you, Ryan. I'm messing with you. I love you. But so I'm really excited. I think they'll pop off.
Definitely CVS Pharmacy, a strong contender there. We'll see how well they do. John, what about a player that you're watching?
I thought I just disconnected. That was weird.
I was like, you disappeared for you too.
I was like, what? I said Pasty. Obviously, everybody knows Pasty. He's still a really good player to watch. It's entertaining. Watching Flashbacks is always entertaining. So, yeah, I'm just going to give it to Pasty.
Pasty, obviously a strong contender, was one of the best main tanks last season. I believe he's on support this season. Still has been able to do a great job over there on the Flashbacks. But definitely some strong players to watch in Group C. We'll see how well this group fares off facing off against the Flashbacks. I'm kidding. We'll see how well all the teams in this group do, and if Flashbacks are able to contend for the top, or if there is another team that could take the reins there. Let's move over now to Group D as we head into that one for Harmony. Your teams in there are Aimbot, Chicago Mafia, FBRD, and Insidious. Navino, who is your favorite to win in this group?
Yeah, let us know.
Bro, you know I ain't saying you. I'm sorry. You know I
Yeah, let
ain't
us know.
saying you.
Hey, that's not what I seen earlier.
Okay. It is FBRD. They're my favorite. Solid win over Jersey Boys. Ringer stuff regardless. Cough, cough, Wally. Trying to put an asterisk on them. But I think they're definitely the best team in that group. Insidious is like a second to me. And Aimbots is probably bottom 2 in that group. I'm sorry, John. Sorry.
John L.
Getting tired of the slander, Navino.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
John
that's fair.
L. Your favorite to win in this group?
Me and my boys. I'm picking aimbots because stage 2, we got our stuff together. I almost just swore. I can't swear. I promised myself I wouldn't swear. We got it together.
So proud of you.
So I'm gonna go with aimbots. My second, I don't know. This group was really hard because I really didn't want to pick a team for this group because it's a really good group. So I don't know. I'm going with aimbots.
These are also all teams that you've been hyping up all season, so this is probably the hardest group for you in that aspect.
No. What's so funny is all the teams that John L picked to be good this season all ended up in
the same tier.
Well, yeah, in the bad groups. But it just goes to show you. It just goes. John L's face.
Okay, Nev. Okay, Nev.
I'm just saying, John L, I would not be giving out rewards to you for how you predict stuff. I would not be right.
It's okay.
Now.
It's okay. It's understandable. It was meant to be.
Put them on predicting tranquility. We'll see how well these match up. But how about a surprise team? A team that you think will make a big surprise in this group, Navino?
I already mentioned them. Insidious. I think they lost a really close game at the end. A game they should have won, but they kind of took care of business and then got beat by the teams they should have been beaten. That they were supposed to lose to. So I think they should not be in this group in my opinion. They are better than this group. Them and FBRD both. So to me, they could sneak up and do pretty well.
Yeah. John, what about you? A surprise team that you or a team that can make a surprise in this group?
I want to be honest. I said Chicago because nobody really talks about Chicago anymore. Chicago Mafia is still a really good group.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Watch out for Chicago. That's the team I'm worried about, in all honesty.
Yeah. I mean, Chicago, it's a city that's exciting. It's a city that's enlightening. It's a city for people just like me. But no, Chicago Mafia.
What did you just say to me? What did you just say?
Bro, you watch too much Sweet Life of Zach and Cody.
Wait, was that Chicago the musical you just quoted?
Yes, I'm pretty sure that was part of Chicago the musical.
Okay.
I was about to say what?
Okay.
Why'd you say Sweet Life? Wait.
I thought that's where I heard it from.
That's
No.
not where I heard it from. But
I heard it in Victoria,
Victorious,
show.
Yes.
Victorious? That's where it's from. Never mind.
Okay, anyway,
that's where it's from. Okay.
Anyway, let's put this back on the track. Chicago Mafia, I mean, I can agree with John here. They definitely have been an underdog that no one's really talked about. They went to map 5 against Flashbacks. So
No, that they've shown good play against higher quality teams. So I'll be interested to see how they do in this group.
Yeah,
but,
definitely. Yeah. Speaking of,
I still think a PJ will win. But
speaking of high quality plays, how about players that have high quality plays? How about a player to watch, Davino?
I said TIE Fighter. I think he's gotten a lot of scrutiny because FBRD kind of lives or dies by honestly by how TIE plays and how Vig plays. Because I think Drug, Vex, Cross, and Sleepy are all so consistent, but the two X factors are TIE and Vig. So I picked Ty for this specifically because Ty is my boy. But yeah,
definitely TIE Fighter been accelerating through Harmony tier all these past couple seasons. Jana, what about a player that you're watching in this group?
I'm going with Sep, just for the fact that he came up. Sep is probably one of the few good DPS players in this group. So I'm gonna go. Yeah, Sep has my vote. 10 out of 10. MVP. I'm giving it to him. What, Nev? What?
There's Vex and Sleepy G on DPS.
Okay. Yes, but
both all stars.
Hey, I don't know, man. Sep climbed.
And there's bro, my grandmother could climb in this current SR inflation market. My grandmother could hit GM, bro. Like,
Hey, I stopped playing because of it, so it's okay.
okay.
I don't know how to react to that.
I don't know how to. Yeah, I don't know how to react to that information. All right, next group, bro.
Anyway, this podcast episode is already going off the rails. We're far from saving now, but let's go over now to the next group here, which is Group E. This is a brand new group we're introducing this season, as we have a lot of Harmony teams. Group E teams are Fighting Potatoes, Jersey Boys, the Pew Pew Plunderers, and Ragnarok Freya. Navino, who is your favorite to win in this group?
I just set up just for Laggy, son. Good old the Jersey Boys. Looked really good against some teams. Kind of fumbled it towards the end, but I think they're definitely the favorite of this group.
John L., what about your favorite to win in this group?
I'll give it to the PP Plunders. In my honest opinion, they are probably the best team in this whole group. Being completely for real. So there's not really much else I could say besides Fighting Potatoes or next.
Moving on from that, Navino, what about a team that will take people by surprise
What,
in this
Nev?
group?
What? You know, it's Nev. Catch me in the DMs, bro. Catch me in the DMs.
Navino.
Okay, sorry. So, my surprise team is Pew Pew Plunderers, and here's why. They play up and down in the competition because they literally did pretty well versus PosChamp and then lose to who they lost to some really like awful team literally the week after they played PosChamp. I'm looking now, and I was
I have it up so I can check. Let's see. They lost to they took a map off of PosChamp and then lost to Chicago Mafia.
Yes, that doesn't make any sense. Like, it literally does not make any sense. So I think PP Wonders is just the streakiest team alive. So there's a lot of streakiness in Harmony this season. So they're my surprise team because I don't know what's gonna happen with them.
They could be coming out of nowhere and taking an upset win, or they could be dropping maps to a bottom team. We don't know what's gonna happen with the Pew Pew Plunderers. Jono, what about you? What is your surprise team in this group?
I said Jersey Boys. There's I don't know how to word it. The only reason I put Jersey Boys is the fact that they're actually like a really good team, in my opinion. They've been surprising to me anyway. So I want to see what they can do in this pool. I don't know how they're gonna do. So it just really all depends.
Yeah, we'll definitely see how well the Jersey Boys do in this group. How about a player to watch, Navino?
Oh, I said Godzilla. You already know.
Yeah.
The Jersey Boys live or die by Godzilla. I'll be real. And it is wild how they live or die by Godzilla. You know. So hopefully Ryan stays meta for his sake.
Let's hope Ryan stays meta.
Or Monkey. Monkey's fine too.
Well, Monkey's also potential. We've been seeing a lot of that in Overwatch League. Jono, what about your player to watch in the Harmony tier group E?
I went with Phoenix from Pew Pew. He's a really good player, a really good mindset, really good mental. I feel like he could probably carry this team to win this group, but I don't know. I might end up eating my words. Who knows?
We'll see how well these two teams we mentioned, as well as the Potatoes and Ragnarok, do in this group. But now that's it for all the groups in Harmony except the Elam group, which we'll get to later. Now let's move over to the Discord tier. We have many teams in the Discord tier. Again, there's also 5 groups in the Discord tier. And those are starting off with Group A. 4 teams I think are going to be pretty interesting to watch in this group. Beat Drop Bears, Cosmic Castaways, MI7, and Paradise Lost. That's a stacked list if I've ever heard it. Navino, of this very stacked list of teams, who is your favorite to win the group?
You know, I am going to reel in my bias, unlike a certain fish that's in our community. Some might call him a fish out of water. I'm not going to kid myself. I think MI7 is his favorite till they lose a game. So MI7 should win this group. I think the rest of the positions are up for grabs, but I think MI7 should win this group. And I say that as someone that's really going to play MI7 in like two weeks.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see. John L., what about your favorite team to win this group?
Me and Navino agreeing once again. I'm going with MI7. I'm sorry, Navino. I was gonna say beat drop bears just for you, just for you, but I don't know.
No, you know, like they MI7 honestly is the favorite to win the tier right now. So like us picking anyone other than MI7 would not make sense right now. You know, because they've only dropped two maps this entire time. You know, they only lost one to Rem and they lost one to Space Created, from what I remember. And they may have lost one more, but like they just look dominant. They've won preseason. They've done everything they need to do. They are like the favorites because of the work they put in.
I'm verifying that. Verifying those map results. But while I'm doing that, how about a team that you think will be a surprise in this group, Navino?
I said Cosmic. I think everyone kind of looks at it as like Cosmic is the red, like the odd man out here, where like Paradise, Beat Drop, and MI7 are like the three like everyone knew they were going to be 8-pool teams, and Cosmic is kind of like I didn't really expect them to be here. You know, we've talked a lot about Magic Otter lately, but they've definitely done a nice improvement arc. So I'll be interested to see how they do versus MI7 this week. Because week 1 matchups is Beat Drop versus Paradise, and then MI7 versus Cosmic. So it'll be interesting to see how they do.
Yeah, definitely will be interesting to see. John L., what about a team that you think will make a surprise?
I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. I'm gonna say beat drop bears. Just for the fact that Navino's on the team, and Navino's the GOAT. He's my GOAT. My Discord tier MVP. I'm going to be completely honest.
Moving into our next section then, you're a player to watch in this group, Navino.
I said Hawk. You know, give Paradise Lost some love. You know, it's really, I think the show is really about Hawk and Neo on Paradise Lost when it comes to that team. You know, CBF has his moments, but Hawk and Neo are the 2-star players. So Hawk is my player to watch.
Yeah, definitely. Hawk has been a strong force of nature on Paradise Lost. John L., a player that you are watching in this group.
Bowsy, why'd you say it so like disappointed? Like
I'm disappointed too, bro.
What?
I don't know why.
What? Because I said you?
Yes.
My player to watch this in this group is probably Nev. Honestly, to stroke his ego a little bit, he actually really is a really good tank player, if you want me to be honest. So I'm gonna give it to Nev. Even though I get no love from you, I'm still gonna give it to Nev.
I hate this rom-com that I'm currently a part of right now.
No, it's all because John L wants to play on Beat Drop next season. Remember, Bowsy? That's the entire reason this is going on.
Oh man, I remember that whole conversation.
Anyway, let's move away from Group A. Definitely a lot of heavy hitters, but Group B is also looking to have some very heavy hitters of their own. Group B has Pride, Space Created, Trigonometric, and the Wild Cat Boys. Navino, who is your favorite to win in this group?
I said Wild Cat Boys. I think Gliscor Shadow Fear have looked really good. I think they've gotten better as time goes on. Yeah, they're only in there because of the Avalon forfeit because of legal ringer stuff, but I still think they look good. I think like they know what they're doing. So to me, it's like them and Trig, but I put Wildcat Boys as my favorite.
John L., what about you? Your favorite to win in this group?
I went with Trig, just for the fact that I just really think they're just such a good team. Like be so honest. With the way that they played in the group that they were, and they came out, it wasn't really hard for them, especially with the support line they had. So I'm gonna give it to Trig.
Yeah, the only loss they got is at map 5 to Paradise.
Yeah, so it tells you the strength of Trigonometric right there. How about a team that you think will make a big surprise here, Navino?
I put Space Created. I think that they're pretty underrated. I think they're pretty solid. You know, they did take map out of MI7. They have looked good. They've won the games they need to, and like it says a lot that they are here and Rem is not.
John L., what about a team that you think will make a surprise in this stage?
I went with Pride, just for the fact that nobody really showed them any love throughout stage 1. I've been on the podcast. Nobody's really talked about them, so I'm gonna give it to Pride. because I feel like they could really come out on top here with the hardest opponent that they have. In all honesty, is going to be Trig. So
Yeah, definitely. We'll see how well all these teams are able to do. And how about a player to watch in this group, Navino?
I said Shadow Fear. I've talked about them before. I think, like, especially them on Sojourn is such a potent weapon for Wildcat Boys. So I pick Shadow Fear.
John L., a player to watch in this group.
I went with Emily Na from Trig. I went back and obviously, like sometimes after like some Discord and some Transcendent tier matches, I go back and I watch VODs and stuff just to like see what comps everybody's running. And I watched their gameplay, and it's like a really, really, really good support player. And I see why Trig's so successful is because their support line is just so solid.
Yeah, Trigonometric.
We can. I can't compliment. We can't compliment Mello here in public. Mello is not allowed to be complimented.
So that's why we only mention Emily here. So
There we go. Only Emily and Clary are good. Mello, stinky Mello. I can say that. About Mello.
stinky. But definitely, I mean, obviously a lot of strong players, even though Melo is stinky. But definitely, we'll have to see how well these teams are able to function and how well these teams are able to do in Group B. Let's head over now to Group C, not number C, letter C. The 4 teams in that group, which honestly kind of surprised a lot of people, are Avalon, Phoenix, Ragnarok, Loki, and Reminiscence. Navino, of these 4, who's your favorite to win the group?
I said Avalon. I think they're on an upward trajectory, while a lot of these other teams are kind of on a downward trajectory in terms of like momentum and stuff. Yeah, like Avalon's only loss is a forfeit, So I think Avalon's looked really good. They run their sim junk. They run stuff they're comfortable with and don't care really what the meta is per se. So I think that they're willing to stick to that and playing around that is unique to them and allows them to get some really surprising wins.
Definitely Avalon, a strong contender in Stage 1. Jono, what about your favorite to win this group?
I went with Rem because, yeah, they're kind of on like a downward slope right now. But if you really think about it, it's that happens to a lot of teams. It can happen. It can happen to anybody. It can happen to B drop. It can happen to aimbots. Any team can just go on a decline. But it's all about how you come back. And I feel like in the group that they're in, they could bounce back out of this easy.
Reminiscence have a lot to prove after losing their second regular season game for the first time since season 6. So they have a lot to prove this season. We'll see if they're able to do that. How about a team that you think will be a big surprise in this group, Navino?
Yeah, I can't read. I said Loki. My brain took a minute to process. So I said Loki. I think that I thought they were going to do so much better versus Paradise Lost than how they actually did. So I'll be interested to see how they bounce back from that. I think they'll improve, And also, like, we're talking about this, but the patch hits tomorrow. We really don't know how the meta is going to shift. Some people think Brig will be OP. I actually don't necessarily think that right now. But so it'll be interesting to see how teams adapt, especially with games this week.
We'll definitely see how well teams are able to adapt there. John L., what about a team that you think will be a surprise?
I said Loki as well, just for the fact that, like, out of all the groups, I honestly thought Loki was going to be a little bit lower than this. So I'm expecting them to really just like kind of surprise everybody. But hey Nev, when am I going to be able to use the new hero in games?
I don't. Why are you asking me? I'm not staff. I think like I'm pretty sure last week of the stage, unless they're making a call, they'll just do it till the end of regular season. Because it's
that
2
was
weeks.
a joke, right?
Oh no.
There's a command in chat, by the way, for anybody who's wondering when you're able to use Lifeweaver. Stop asking us.
I'm not using him.
Stop asking us. Stop asking people. You now know the answer by just typing ! Lifeweaver.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah. We were ahead of things this time around. But how about a player to watch in this group, Navino?
Oh, did you, John? I don't think you said your surprise team, did you?
He did.
Yeah,
It
I
was
did.
Loki.
It's Loki.
Oh yeah, we have the same one. I said Zasper from Avalon, kind of a DPS carry for that team, and they're gonna live and die by it because of the wacky heroes they play.
Jono, what about a player that you're watching in Group C?
I'm going with my boy Rakusi. I went back. I honestly I've been watching a lot of odds and like a lot of odds, and whew, I don't like some of these teams. Like just like shock me with some of the players they have, and like the amount of talent that I see that like nobody really like acknowledges. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see how well that talent is able to stack up in Group C. Let's head over now to Group D in the Discord tier. The 4 teams in there are Maelstrom, the Pukin Dogs, Redacted, and SEAL Team Spuds. Navino, who is your favorite to win this group?
I lost my tab. Hold on. There we go. I am gonna pivot because I'm tired of having the same answer as John L.
It just happened.
Maelstrom. I'm gonna go Maelstrom. Here's why. I think Iconics looks really good. I don't even remember their tank's name now, but I know him from Owlet. Blackman or something like that. Like they've just looked really good. They've played close with some good teams. So to me, they are the favorite right now.
Maelstrom, definitely. That's a spicy take if I've ever heard one. We'll see if we're able to live up to the task.
Spicy water.
Yeah, spicy water take. John L., what about your favorite to win this group?
I'm gonna be honest. Nev's just a hater because we both agreed on the same thing again, and it never happens. I went with Puking Dogs. This is probably gonna be the easiest group for them, to be honest. That's all I really have to say. It's just gonna be easy.
Pukin Dogs, the first team to take down Reminiscence in Stage 1. We'll see if they're able to keep up that momentum in this stage. How about a team that could make a surprise impact, Navino?
I said Spuds because they kind of got off to a sneaky start, lost to teams we expect them to lose to, but have looked solid in the process. So I think they're a high improvement team. The quote, I'm pretty sure Drink Water's on that team, so I'll quote Genji Main. Drink Water owns this group. I'll quote Genji Main here.
Yes, Drink Water is on that team. So definitely a lot of strong talent over there with Drink Water. John L., what about a team that you think will make a surprise impact?
I went with Maelstrom. Just I don't know. I don't really know much about him. I could see it. I kind of want to just like let it happen. You know what I mean?
We'll see if Maelstrom is able to make a surprise in this group. How about a player to watch in Group D, Navino?
Player to watch. I said Zorthcon. When Zorthcon plays well, Pukin Dogs look as good as they did. So I put Zorthcon. So Zorthcon is I think the conduit for how well they've done.
And John L., a player to watch in Group D.
Master Ryan. It's my boy right there. Simple as that.
There you go. The tank player for the Redacted org. Definitely we'll have to see how well they're able to do in Group D. Let's wrap up the Discords here with Group E. The 4 teams in this are Adrenaline, Royal Throne, Tempest, and the Thunder Duckies. Navino, who is your favorite to win of this group?
I said Adrenalines. I'm not going to pivot this time. I'm not going to be mean to John L., but I said Adrenalines. I think they took teams close. They're the only team to take a map out beat drop. They have played pretty well. I'm not upset about it. I think that this is their group to lose.
John L., your favorite to win in this group?
I completely agree with what Navino said. This team is really good. Really, really kind of like underrated. So we're going to see what they can do, especially against Tempest. But obviously, that's a whole different topic.
We'll see how well that Tempest is able to strike. How about a team that you think will make a surprise, Navino?
Ooh, good question. Good question. I said Thunder Duckies. They have done decent against some good teams, bad against others. I think they're just like a team with a lot of untapped potential that could be good. I kind of put them in the same wavelength as like how I feel about Tempest, where like I think they could be good, but they just haven't lived up to that yet. So we'll see how it keeps going.
Yeah, one of the most recognizable tank support duos in Season 9 on the Thunder Duckies with Jewish Missile and Sexy Lexi, so definitely they could make an impact in Stage 2. What about your surprise team that you think will make a surprise, John L?
I went with Tempest. Not a lot of people talked about Tempest. Obviously, a lot happened, but this team still stayed strong, and they still were able to build a roster to compete. So I really think they're still a really strong team with really strong mentals. Really, really, really strong mentals.
Strong mentals.
I just gotta say that at this point, John L is the bad Pachamari of Trank. Every team he picks to do well does not do well.
Okay, so you know what?
I'm sorry. What? This is F's in chat for Tempest.
You know what, BPL, I'll see you next year.
He was right about one team. So he is literally the equivalent of BP, getting Florida Mayhem finally right. He's the equivalent. Someone clip this as this is BP. Jonelle is the BP of Trank.
Yes, send it to him. BPL, I'll see you next year.
I guess that's a point you could make there. But yeah, Tempest, definitely a lot of strong mentals, a lot of strong veteran presence. We'll see if we're able to be a surprise in this. How about a player to watch in Group E, Navino?
I said Fuelmaker for Adrenaline. They're my favorite, so I picked them. I picked one of their players. Fuelmaker is their tank. I think it says a lot that this team decided to only play with one tank. I think it says a lot that, they play, I would be pitting the Winston Soj comp is, actually pretty solid right now. And you see, a lot of Winston Overwatch League, once the Pro-Am started, and when a lot of people weren't playing Winston before. And I think Fuelmaker's Winston was really good, in the game we played. Not a lot of teams will play Winston and and do that well, and especially in the Rush versus Winston type matchup in this rank, and I think he does that pretty well. I think their mechanics are good. But in the Winston comp, if the Winston ints and dies, that's it, right? So Fuelmaker sets so many of the expectations for this team, and I think they're going to do that pretty well.
John L, a player to watch in this group.
I went with Pug. Obviously, if you guys haven't spoken to me before, I've trialed Pug last year. I played with Pug. Pug is one of my good friends. He's a very talented DPS player. Very talented.
Yeah, definitely a talented DPS player in the Discord tier and as well as Harmony last season. Definitely Pug will be one to watch. Let's go over to our final group, which is the Transcendence tier. Final tier, not final group. We still have 3 more groups to go in the Transcendence tier. And let's start off with Group A. Of course, Transcendence tier is different. The top 4 and then the middle 4 and then the bottom 4 all go into separate pools. So starting with Pool A, you have the top 4 teams, which are not in order: Amnesia, Billings, Boomers, Guangzhou Gangsters, and Wyverns. Navino, who's the favorite to win this group?
Guangzhou. I think you can make an argument for Boomers, but Guangzhou, they've beaten who they need to beat. Boomers are my second, though. I think it's literally, it is going to come down to the Guangzhou Boomers match.
John L, your favorite to win this group?
Guangzhou. I would pick up off Navino, but everybody knows that they're probably the most dominant team in trans tier, so there's not really much else to really say about it.
Yeah, not a lot of opinions for other teams. How about a team that you think will make a surprise impact, Navino?
I said Wyverns, not because I think they'll win or something, but because let's think about the Wyverns story. They were not supposed to be there. Losing to Hammerhead. And then somehow pulling out the win versus Amnesia. And getting in because of the map difference versus Devil Dukes. The top 4 teams in trans tier have pretty much been the same every power rank we've had. And Guangzhou, Boomers, Dukes, and Amnesia. And Wyverns kind of messed that up. So now Dukes are in B group, So, I think their entire journey to get here is a surprise. So anything that they do at this point is gravy to them. Truly, if you from their perspective, they weren't supposed to be there. After they lost to Hammerhead, no one thought they were going to make A group because everyone assumed Amnesia would beat them. They won. They got the map difference because Guangzhou 4-0'd Devil Dukes that same week. So if you think about that journey, So that's my surprise team.
John L., what about your surprise team in this group?
My surprise team in this group is going to be Amnesia. After I kind of had to research a little bit. Seeing that they lost to Wyverns, I believe. Yeah, they lost to Wyverns
In a map 5, yeah.
in a map 5. Yeah, so it's seeing that rematch is really gonna like kind of just settle my opinion on that team. If they end up pulling that rematch in, then I really think they could probably go second in this group. But if they don't, then probably third or fourth.
We'll see how well Amnesia and Wyverns are able to do. How about a player to watch in this group, Navino?
I said Civiltals from Boomers. I think Civiltals is probably the best flex support right now. Sorry, Aplom, but I just think Civiltals, especially in Baptiste, is looking really good. And I think we'll see more of a hero pool come out as we keep going with the meta shifting and everything. But I think Civiltals is like such a focal point for that Boomers team that has really come out of nowhere for a lot of people and is a top 2 team in the tier right now.
John L., a player that we should watch in this group.
Cam.
I mean, yeah.
Cam,
The old man.
Cam,
Old man
Cam, and Cam.
Old man Cam is always getting the attention they apparently deserve in Tranquility. Let's move over now to Pool B. The 4 teams in this are the Devil Dukes, the Fleet Angels, Hammerhead, and Singularity. Navino, who's the favorite to win this group?
I think it's Devil Dukes. The only game they lose is at Guangzhou. They take care of business. They lead 4-0 Fleet Angels week 1. Even though they had a setback versus Guangzhou, to me, they are still the pick for this B group.
John L., who is your favorite to win this group?
Oh my God, I went with Singularity, just because, man, I don't know. Devil Dukes they're a really good team, but I really feel like they have flaws, and I feel like Singularity could probably exploit a lot of their flaws. Just like Navino said earlier, he doesn't think Devil Dukes is gonna do that good. So,
And that was a bold prediction. Remember,
Yeah.
Emphasis on the bold. I think it would be very surprising if Devil Dukes actually go to lower bracket. If Devil Dukes do not get top 2 in their group, I will eat my hat or whatever that phrase is from that random show. You know what I'm talking about? Like, I think it was like Arthur or something that they had like. Anyway, I'm getting off topic.
yeah, I know what you mean.
But no, Singularity I think is a good shot.
Yeah. I think that's
They're kind of the rat show, to be honest.
I think that's
And that's not like an insult. There's a player named Rat.
Yeah. I think this is the second time you said you'd eat your hat for something, by the way. So.
Oh, probably. It's actually, if I can make fun of it, I use that phrase actually with my friends, like quite consistently.
Fair enough. How about a team that you think will be a surprise in this group, Navino?
I put I put a Hammerhead. I was reading the wrong one. I think Hammerhead, because I'll be honest, I think they've only looked as good as they have because Ball has been very playable right now. And, everyone knows from last season, Kiddo is a ball player. So we'll see how that trend continues, right? I think they could do very well, but I also think they could struggle if the meta shifts where Ball isn't as playable.
John L., your surprise team that you're watching for in this group.
Well, since Navino leaked it already, I said Fleet Angels. With the way that their first stage went, I could see them really just outperforming this group. In all honesty, with their biggest competition going to be Devil Dukes, but I think that'll probably go to map 5.
Well, we'll definitely see how all the Fleet Angels are going to go. How about a player that you're watching in this group, Navino?
I have the same answer that we kind of all had when talking about Devil Dukes, and that's Farm. Consistently been a high performer. Shout out to the rest of their team, but it's like Farm is the one consistent factor for them that's done really well. Farm or Brent, but I also say Farm.
Yeah, definitely Farm. We talked so much about them in the midseason awards, so definitely a strong player there. John L., what about your player that you're watching in this group?
Our favorite podcast member, our favorite undersea being, Fish. Fish is just the GOAT. It's my boy.
I mean, On the bench, yeah, he's definitely
Yeah,
your
yeah,
boy.
yeah.
Hey, you know what? Guess what? Best bench warmer on the team.
Fair enough.
Fish
again.
played in one game, A-Plum. One game. And that was the Map 5 versus Reckless versus Nightmare. That's the Map 5 versus Nightmare Outlaws.
Yep.
I love you, Fish.
Fish definitely. We'll see how well they're able to perform with Farm and the rest of the Devil Dukes in Pool B. Let's wrap up this section with Pool C. The 4 teams in there being the Hive Mind Halifites, Just Better Incorporated, Reckless Delta, and Throwing or Bad. Navino, who is your favorite to win in this group?
Given some recency bias with the recent Hive Mind Throwing or Bad game, I went Throwing or Bad. I think Patience has just looked really good. That we'll kind of see how they bounce back from losing a DPS player, but to me, that's still my favorite right now.
John L., your favorite to win in this group?
I'm still hyping up Hive Mind. I'm still sticking with it. They're always going to be my favorite until I'm proven otherwise.
You've been proven otherwise like 3 times because they've lost like 3 times.
Well, guess what? Those 3 times,
twice.
I still stood on it.
Okay, well.
Loyalty. You know.
No,
what
this is
Kendrick
the
said.
bad patch. This is the bad patch Amari comparison right here.
I told you.
Pick
I
Hive
told
Mind
you.
to do well.
I told you. BPL see me next year.
Anyway, how about a team that you think will be a surprise in this group, Navino?
I said good old Reckless Delta. I don't think a lot of people expect a lot out of them, but I do think that they're one of the few teams and I'll be honest here, guys. There's a lot of teams that do badly and kind of just check out. They don't care. They don't care about improving. They're just like, we're bad. Who cares? Reckless Delta is not one of those teams. Just from talking to some of the people that play on it, they just seem to really care a lot about improvement, and that's really nice to see. So I think I have faith.
We'll see if that faith is able to live on. John L., this team that you think will make a big surprise in this group?
I said Just Better Inc. Actually. I don't know. I'm still really iffy on a surprise team in this group because they're all really like decent teams in my opinion. So it's hard to really say like, oh, this team's gonna surprise me more than this team will, because I could have said Throwing or Bad too. I was torn between Just Better and Throwing or Bad, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a close group.
It's definitely gonna be an interesting group to watch. All of these. How about a player to watch from this group though, Navino?
I kind of didn't pick a specific player. I just said whoever IGLs for Hive Mind, because every time I watch them, I think their biggest flaws are macro based. They struggle to maintain with alt fights, combos, just the synergy of it, of the macro fights. So whoever's IGLing for them, or maybe they need to pick an IGL, that is who I'm watching. Mechanically, they're all individually talented players. The macro is where stuff really becomes suspect to me.
John L., a player that you're watching in this group.
My boy Syme, the Widow connoisseur. Simple as that. It's my boy. I stand on it, even though I don't play Widow, because she's kind of like an easy character. But it's Widow.
There you go. There is all of the groups, all of the players, all of the teams that you should be watching as we enter into stage number 2, except there's still one more group we have to go over, and it's not as impressive because it's the group where people can unfortunately be eliminated. And that is the elimination pool. So we have 3 elimination pools. Each one has only 4 teams making it on to the playoffs. So I'm going to list off every single team in the Elim pools. I unfortunately don't have a graphic to show it. But I'm going to list off every team in the Elim pools for each of the tiers, and these 2 have to pick who they think is going to be moving on to the playoffs from that tier. Starting off in the Harmony tier, there are 10 teams in the Elim pool in the Harmony tier. Those are Ares, Colorado Carbon, Eminence, Exhilaration, the Late Night Esports Makos, the Luminous Foxes, Mets Gaming, Positively Aggressive, Swordfish, and the Council. Navino, of that list of teams I just said, who is moving on to the playoffs?
Luminous. If they don't make playoffs, they have truly fumbled the bag. They have fumbled the bag hard. Luminous.
John L., who is making the playoffs of that list?
Luminous. Honestly, I hate to say it, but they are probably the best team in this entire Elim pool. if, like Navino said, if they don't, then that whole preseason was a fluke and they just fumbled.
We'll definitely see if Luminous are able to keep that up after a kind of disappointing stage number 1. We'll see if they're able to get that ball rolling in the elimination pool. Now for Discord tier. 8 teams in Discord tier elimination pool. Those are Concordia Wildwind, Error, Jellyfish, Culture, Poseidon, the Tampa Bay Tryhards, UV Rays, and Wildfire. Of that list, Navino, who's making the playoffs?
I said Poseidon or Wildfire. Honestly, I'm leaning Poseidon. I'll be honest. Like, I think this group is actually pretty close. I think all the teams are like equally like mediocre to be here. Like, they all have looked good at points. They've all looked bad at points. So thus, that equals mediocrity. So I think it's a pretty close group. But I went with Poseidon and Wildfire. I kind of like need a coin flip between the two.
John L., what about a team that you think is moving on to the playoffs?
I'm gonna say Culture, just because them as an org, they have a really good team in Harmony tier. They have I don't their Discord tier team's meh, but I still have hope that they can at least pull this out, in my opinion. So I can see it.
All right, definitely some strong takes there. Let's wrap this up with the Transcendence tier. Only 6 teams in the elimination pool. 4 move on. Classified, Frost Nova, Hades, Nightmare Outlaws, Open Revital. Navino, of that list, who's going to the playoffs?
I went with Revitalize. I think it's hard to predict against a team with some trained veterans like Orsted, like Zuby / Bray, whatever you want to call them. You like some god hand players. Like, the fact that they're at this point in the first place is surprising to many.
Yeah, definitely is a surprise to many. We'll see if Revital's able to pick it up. John L., what team do you think is moving to the playoffs from Transcendence Elim Pool?
Outlaws. They're probably, like I said, with Harmony tier, they're probably the best team in this Elam bracket. If they don't, then Navino can throw a water balloon at me.
I mean, it'd be a good content for the show, but definitely a lot of interesting stuff. We'll see which of those teams are able to make it to the playoffs. Now, with all that being said, it's now time to pick some matches to watch as we enter the first week of stage number 2. Navino, what match are you watching, and give me a prediction for the score.
GCG versus Amnesia. I think it'll be 4 over GCG, but if it's not, this is Amnesia's kind of like prove it game. So that's my game.
John L., what about a match that you're watching this week?
Going back to me and my boys, Aimbots and FBRD. It's just so luckily that me and Navino just combated heads in this whole group because we're playing each other week 1. So I went 3-2. I can't say. I just know it's going to be close regardless. So I went 3-2. I can't tell you who's going to win. I don't know.
No. I need TIE Fighter to watch this podcast and look at me. If you lose to John L., I will never forgive you.
Yes. TIE Fighter, if you lose to me on an off roll, I will never forgive you. Like Navino said.
Remind me next year, I need to have a scene where it's just both the analysts and not me, so that I can have those sort of arguments on a whim, and I don't have to be
We're just looking at each other.
Just looking directly at each other. But the match I'm looking for, honestly, this is a match that I think is going to be the most interesting, because it's a long-awaited rematch. Beat Drop Bears. Depends how you look on it. Beat Drop Bears versus Paradise Lost. This is a rivalry that goes all the way back to Season 7 in the semifinals when Paradise Lost knocked out the Quokka Queens, of which this guy was a part of. So, these two are facing off for the first time once again. It's been 3 seasons. We'll see if Beat Drop Bears are able to get their revenge on Paradise Lost, or Paradise Lost are still better than the Marsupial Org. But I have it as a 3-2 win for Paradise Lost. We'll see if they're able to live up to that title and keep that wins going against the Beat Drop Bears.
I'm just going to say, if we're counting this, Bowsy, I'm just going to say, technically I already evened up that score by beating Paradise in the Natter tournament. All right, I'm pointing this out.
Fair enough.
Beat him in tranquility.
So whoever's going to be taking the lead in this rivalry in that case. So
yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, that is all of those. But if you like those predictions, I have some good news for you. Right after this broadcast is, of course, predicting Tranquility, where Nerf is going to be predicting every single match happening in Tranquility this week, alongside... Let's see, I believe it is Clem and Choice Who Won predicting all the matches this week alongside Nerf, so make sure you stay tuned to Predicting Tranquility after this broadcast. In addition, we have our feature matches of this week every day there at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. On Tuesday is our Harmony tier match of Basement Dwellers versus Disclosed. Wednesday is our Transcendence tier feature match, Singularity versus Fleeing Angels. And on Thursday, we wrap up the week with our Discord tier feature match, where Space Created take on Pride. In addition, Silver Slander will be airing on Tuesday after the Harmony tier feature. Bronze Banter, of course, airs every Saturday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. And After Scrims Tonight with Lord Thuggington is currently slated for Sunday at 10 p.m. However, we'll be updating to see if that actually happens, because Thuggington, of course, had to cancel this week's due to a lost voice. With that out of the way, let's get into the final announcements. First off, thank you all for helping us raise over $4,000 for Rise Above the Disorder this past week during event week. It was a great cause. It was a great event. It was great to see all of you contribute all you could to Rise Above the Disorder and help people get the mental health treatment that they need. So thank you once again from Tranquility, helping us raise that much money for Rise Above the Disorder. With that being said, gentlemen, is there anything you have to say before I announce our giveaway winner?
I have to say, like Bowsy said, thank you for helping with the Rise Above the Disorder, really. Outside of that, Navino, I love you. Say it back.
I don't love people. You know,
Say it back.
I'm an emotional wasteland. I love you, Jonelle.
Thank you.
All right, with my romantic comedy and up top of me, can I get a drum roll, please?
I love you, Train.
Okay.
Your winner of a free shirt from the Tranquility Store is one of the best staff admin pug lobby hosts, Dabmaster 9001. Congratulations, Dabmaster, for winning a free shirt from the Tranquility Store. We'll be getting in contact with you to get all the details sorted. Yes.
Oh, Midmaster.
Midmaster did indeed win the shirt this week, but I mean, hey, he deserves it after doing a lot of work on staff admin pugs on Friday, so.
It's so real. Thank you, Dabmaster.
Congratulations, Dabmaster. But that is going to do it for us here today. We thank you all for gazing into the iris with us. For Navino and Jono, my name is Bowsy. Until we meet again, we hope you have an amazing week in Tranquility, and we'll see you on the other side. Make sure to stay tuned for Predicting Tranquility right after this broadcast.
Go like.
Experience tranquility. Pass into the iris.